The Old West narrative would be incomplete without acknowledging the numerous saloons that dotted the American frontier, from dozens to hundreds and even thousands. The term saloon instantly evokes an image of an iconic Old West establishment, a facade adorned with wooden panels, a broad boardwalk flanking the dusty street, hitching posts for horses, and those familiar swinging doors, brushing against cowboys as they entered, seeking whiskey to quench their thirst.
Remember to hit the like button because it helps us a lot. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and press the notification bell to not miss the upcoming interesting videos.
As America expanded westward, the saloon was a steadfast presence. While places like Taos and Santa Fe in New Mexico already held a few Mexican cantinas, they were rare until the proliferation of saloons in the West, sprouting up at settlements and trail intersections. The inaugural establishment, officially labeled a saloon, emerged at Brown's Hole near the junction of Wyoming, Colorado, and Utah around 1822. This particular saloon, known as Brown's Saloon, served the community of trappers during the peak fur trading era. Saloons were ever popular in a place filled with soldiers, as seen in one of the West's earliest saloons at Bent's Fort, Colorado during the late 1820s. Likewise, cowboys congregated in towns like Dodge City, Kansas, and miners scoured rocky terrains and canyons in pursuit of riches. In 1848, when gold was discovered near Santa Barbara, California, the settlement housed a lone cantina. Yet, a few years later, the town boasted an impressive array of over 30 saloons. By 1883, even Livingston, Montana, a town with a population of only 3,200, had 33 saloons, a testament to the widespread allure and prominence of these quintessential Western establishments. The majority of patrons at Western saloons opted for unadulterated spirits like rye or bourbon. Ordering a fancy cocktail or sipping one's drink often led to mockery unless the individual possessed a recognized reputation as a rugged character. Strangers, particularly foreigners who nursed their beverages, were occasionally coerced into downing a fifth of 100-proof liquor under the threat of a firearm, supposedly for his own good. Saloons also served up volumes of beer, albeit at a tepid temperature of 55 to 65 degrees, far from the icy chill of today's standards. Though the beer had a head, it wasn't sudsy as it was today. Patrons hurriedly consumed their brew before it lost its chill and fizz. The advent of artificial refrigeration and pasteurization in the 1880s brought to the U.S. brewing processes by Adolphus Busch heralded the rise of Budweiser as a national brand. Before then, folks in the Old West didn't expect their beer to be cold, adhering to the European practice of serving beer at room temperature. In nearly every mining encampment and prairie settlement, a poker table could be found within each saloon, encircled by prospectors, lawmen, cowhands, railroad laborers, soldiers, and bandits, all looking for luck. The big game of choice in Old West saloons was faro, followed by brag, three-card Monte, and dice games like high-low, chuck-a-luck, and grand hazard. Over time, a multitude of the Old West mining camps, such as Deadwood, Leadville, and Tombstone, gained notoriety not only for their abundant gold and silver ore, but also for the shootouts over card games. Seasoned gamblers like Doc Holliday and Wild Bill Hickok learned early to hone their six-shooter skills at the same pace as their gambling abilities. Reacting swiftly on the green cloth became an inherent aspect of the gambler's unwritten rulebook: shoot first, seek explanations later. Over time, there was every type of saloon that one could imagine: gambling saloons, restaurant saloons, billiard saloons, dance hall saloons, bowling saloons, and, naturally, the ever-present traditional drinking haunts all found their place. They took on names such as the First Chance Saloon in Miles City, Montana, the Bull's Head in Abilene, Kansas, and the Holy Moses in Creede, Colorado. In many of the more densely inhabited settlements, these saloons remained open around the clock, catering ceaselessly to their patrons 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. One question many people ask is whether saloons were really adorned with swinging-style doors. These types of doors, called cafe doors, and sometimes referred to as bat-wing doors, were found in many saloons, but not nearly as often as they are depicted in popular movies. In film, there's just no better door than the swinging door for the hero to burst into and for the bad guys to be tossed out through. The regulars at saloons often acquired calluses on their elbows by prolonged and heavy leaning on the bar. In the West, solitary drinking at home was rare. Camaraderie was paramount, drawing numerous patrons to the plethora of saloons. This diverse clientele spanned from minors to outlaws to gamblers and diligent laborers. Saloons of the West did not welcome other races. Indigenous people were legally barred, and although an occasional black man might reluctantly gain acceptance, or at least ignored if he happened to be a noted gambler or outlaw, if a Chinese man entered a saloon, he risked his life. One distinct category of white man was also frequently unwelcome, the soldier. There were several reasons for this. Given the makeup of many men in the West, adventurers, people who didn't fit in the East, outlaws, and Civil War deserters, they had no respect for the men who policed the West. A curious attribution also arose. Soldiers were unfairly held responsible for introducing diseases to the parlor house girls. In line with the conventions, respectable women were also excluded. Unless they were saloon girls or shady lady, women were excluded from saloons, a custom that persisted until World War I. In response, these women played a significant role in the Prohibition movement, advocating against the very establishments that excluded them. At the time, the saloon was usually one of the first and bigger buildings within many new settlements. It was common that it was also utilized as a public meeting place. The fusion of the saloon and courtroom exemplifies this fusion, epitomized by Judge Roy Bean's establishment. Another saloon in Downingville, California, was not only the most popular saloon in the town, but also the office of the local justice of the peace. Similarly, in Hays City, Kansas, saw the first church services conducted within the confines of Tommy Drum's saloon. In Western history, legendary gunmen owned saloons, tended bar, or dealt cards at one time or another. Noteworthy figures like Wild Bill Hickok, Bill Tillman, Ben Daniels, Wyatt Earp, Bat Masterson, Ben Thompson, Doc Holliday, and many others left their imprints on these establishments. However, most notable among the many saloons of the West was the ever-present violence that was instigated or occurred within these establishments. In 1876, Bob Younger encapsulated the ethos, acknowledging, "We are rough men and used to rough ways." There were numerous killings inside these Old West saloons. Among them, Wild Bill Hickok met his demise, felled by Jack McCall's bullet while engaged in a poker game at Deadwood, South Dakota's number 10 saloon. John Wesley Hardin was shot and killed from behind on August 19, 1895, in an El Paso, Texas saloon. Numerous instances of violence unfurled within saloons, which wound up with shootouts on the street or public hangings after vigilante groups had formed within the saloon. Let's not overlook the role of the saloon or dance hall girl, whose duty was to illuminate the nights of lonesome men yearning for female companionship. Contrary to what many might think, saloon girls seldom engaged in prostitution. This was prevalent only within the seediest tier of saloons. Although respectable women often deemed these saloon girls as having fallen, their job was to entertain the guests, singing, dancing, engaging in conversation, and perhaps flirt with them a bit, inducing them to others in the bar, fostering drink purchases and game participation. Not all saloons employed saloon girls. For instance, on Dodge City's north side of Front Street, which upheld a respectable reputation, firearms, saloon girls, and gambling were strictly prohibited. Here, music and billiards were featured as the chief amusements to accompany drinking. During the early days of the California Gold Rush in 1849, the emergence of dance halls became a prevalent phenomenon, spreading across the burgeoning boomtowns. While these establishments often hosted games of chance, their main allure was dancing. Patrons typically paid 80 cents to $1 for a dance ticket, with the profits divided between the dance hall girl and the saloon proprietor. Following the dance, the young woman would guide the gentleman to the bar, where she would earn an additional commission from the sale of a drink. Even in modern times, the Old West saloon culture persists, the same way a woman professionally serves as a prostitute today. Though the gambling tables and spittoons have faded into history, The essence of the tavern or bar endures as an establishment seemingly impervious to economic fluctuations. Undoubtedly, it will persist as a haven where business individuals continue to negotiate transactions and people frequent the premises to alleviate their worries. Please like and share if you find the video content interesting and useful. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and comment below so as not to miss the upcoming interesting videos. Thanks for watching.